Good morning. Welcome to your little art lesson. So if you will get, all you need is some paper, some printer paper or a sketch pad will be perfect, and a dark pen. I'm using a black gel pen. As long as it's dark, you can use a dark blue pen, that's fine. So that way we can get our darks with our pens. So we're gonna do a little pen and ink today. And before we do that, I'm going to show you some artwork. So while you are getting settled, I'm just going to remind you about Cat Academy. Cat Academy is starting up in September. It is a fine arts program for homeschooling students for the school year. So I will take care of your art for the school year. You don't have to worry about it at all. It's for ages 9 to 18, and we have two age groups that they will be with. It's online and in person. So if you don't live near me, I got you. We'll do it online and it'll just be a lot like this, except it'll be on Zoom where I can actually really talk to your kids and see what they're doing. It runs from September to May, although if some parents want me to continue on into June, that is an option. We can tack June on in as well. And it also satisfies the homeschool requirements for all states and the older ages as well. So we live in New York State, which is a bit more work to homeschool. You have to get your plan approved by them. You have to do quarterly reports. You have to log hours and all of that. So this satisfies New York State. And so you are good for the year. Deadline is August 20th for signing up so that I can be prepared for classes. And if you joined this week, I'm going to give you a cute little notebook that I designed. You can tell me which color you want. In Cat Academy, we're going to learn all kinds of drawing methods. We're starting from sketching from life, which we will continue throughout. It's like good practices and good skill building. We're going to do charcoal, Conte, and pen and ink, and we might venture into some other things, but that is the plan for now. If you want more details, I spent about an hour discussing every little thing that I'm going to be teaching your kids. I believe it was Wednesday night's live stream. So if you scroll down on the page you're on, you will probably find it. If not, go to Cat Academy and you can find it. And if not, go to my website. There's a link on my website for the live stream up at the top of the page there. So sharing is caring. Please share this video if you can think of anyone who might like a little art lesson. I'm hoping for 12 students for the year for Cat Academy. We have 3, so you can help me spread the word. Okay, are you ready for your lesson? So I wanted to bring to you an artist named Andrew Fisher Bunner, and he was born in the 1800s, 1840 to 1897. So right before 1900, he passed away. Not a whole lot is known about him. I discovered his artwork on the Metropolitan Museum of Art website, and I really enjoyed his pen and ink drawings. So I started looking up whatever I could find about him, and not a lot is known. He's an American artist. He lived in New York City for a while, and he specialized in the marine and landscape watercolors, which surprised me because some of his paintings look like oil paintings. I'll show some of the oil paintings later. We're going to focus on his pen and ink today. And well, his pen and ink is also popular. And most of them are scenes from Germany or Italy, mostly Venice. So I'm going to show you a few of his. Let me see. I'm going to go make myself kind of small and looking over this. Maybe I can just get rid of this. So I'll tell you what you need later. All right. Are you ready to see his paintings or his drawings? Okay. So I'll just let you look a little bit. These are a little blurry. These were the best quality that I could find on the Met Museum website. But some of them are kind of castle-like. And this, if there's not waterways, it's probably a German landscape. So he uses the dark pen to do everything, even the light areas. And it always amazes me how a black pen can still make things look soft and light. So you've got your light shades up at the white tower there on the shadow side. You can even see some clouds. You kind of like drew in a few clouds there. Let's look at another one. This one's really soft. It's like a little church. Make myself smaller. You can see the reflection in the water. I do believe this is Germany still. This doesn't look like Venice. A little too open. And the softness of the trees. I love the simplicity of pen and ink and the high contrast of it. Super dark, super light. And then you can still get everything in between. Those light shades. Let's look at another. Okay, here's two. I do believe these are Venice. You can see the bridges over the water and the reflection from the buildings on the water. Nothing is really perfect, is it? He may have used a ruler to make the initial line straight, but I think when he went and did the artwork, it was all just freehand. A lot of little details and just little etchings. And it gives a lot of character. Do you notice around the edges of all of the works, it kind of fades out before it reaches the edge of the paper? That is called a vignette, where it just kind of fades out. It doesn't come straight to the edge of the paper. Now, on the one that doesn't have the bridge, the other building, the trees and the leaves are kind of going to the edge, but the other side vignettes kind of fades out, doesn't it? It's a kind of a neat effect. Brings your eye in. It brings your eye in, and it doesn't make you go out to the edge like that. Okay. So this one, the one closest to me with a few things on it, were just studies and sketches. They're just like practices for him. Um, Pretty nice practice, huh? So it looks like he's got two scenes on the top, and then one little one in the middle, and then one at the bottom. So just something as I'm noticing here. The one at the bottom, where does your eye go? Where's your eye kind of land and keep coming back to? I would guess it's the larger, darker tower that has the little four sections on it as well. And I'm going to tell you why. Our brains and our eyes naturally go toward high contrast and larger shapes and darker. So we have a large shape that's kind of different from all the others, and it's full of the darker pen. So our eyes go there, and which is interesting because as an artist, you can decide where people's eye goes. You can decide where you want them to look or where you want them to stay. And you can decide what the main object is. You have that power. So the objects in the front, the foreground, that are closest to us have more detail, and they have more value range. They have more darks. They have more lights. Well, some of them have lights. That tower doesn't have as many lights. But look in the distance, what he did. There's still some things back there, but our eyes aren't drawn to it as much because there's a lot less contrast and the edges aren't as hard there. So it's there. He wants it to be there, but he's kind of like allowed it to be in the background, literally in the background, so that we enjoy it, but our eyes still go to that main tower where he wants it to go. So let's look at the other one with the gate and the big tower at the top. That is a neat one. I really enjoy these. You can see part of a bridge. I like that gate. Really cool. All right. One more. This one I really like. This one kind of looks like a fairy tale castle to me. And look at, there's clouds. Somehow he did soft, soft clouds with a dark pen. We're going to look at this one just a little closer. Look how he has pretty much told us where the sun is. The sun is off to the side because you can see one side of those two towers are lighter than the other side. The other side is dark. So you can tell where the sun is right? It's got the cool wall, and the towers kind of go into the wall. The wall goes into the towers. Some fun little buildings there. All right, that is that one again. I have one more for you, and then we're going to start doing some pen and ink work. Okay, so this is a cool one. On the water, you can see the boats down below. Again, you can tell where the sun is. It's coming from the other direction now. Because if you look at some of the buildings and the towers, they all have the same shadow side. The same side of them is in shadow, right? And you can see the reflection of the water. It's a little blurry, but you can tell he just kind of scribbled a little bit, kind of back and forth. Kind of simple movements that you can do. And here's the meat tower. And the boats and the wall. All right, let's do a little bit of fun with this one. You're in this you're in this drawing. Okay. You can decide where you are. Maybe you're on one of the boats. What could you be hearing? What are you hearing? Now that you're in the drawing, what are you hearing? You might be hearing a little bit of a breeze. You might be hearing some water hit the walls. And in the boat, if you're in the boat, you're definitely going to be hearing that. How about, I wonder if they have seagulls. You might be hearing some birds, some splashes maybe from different animals doing something around the water. What are you feeling on your body? Do you feel the breeze? Maybe the sun's real warm. Maybe it's sunset. The heat of the day is starting to go, and you're getting a little bit of refreshment after such a long day. If you're on a boat, what might you be feeling? Some movement from the boat. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe you've been working all day and you're ready to get home. Maybe even fishing. Maybe you have the fish. You're going to sell the fish at the market and you're going to keep some for yourself, and that's going to be your dinner. What are you smelling? Probably smelling the water. If this is Venice, I don't know what the water smells like. It probably doesn't smell great. I don't know. It might smell like seawater. Definitely smell like fishiness. Maybe someone's cooking nearby and you can smell their dinner cooking. What do we do? Oh, I think we missed taste. Now, we're just speculating. What could you be tasting? I don't know. Maybe if you've had a little bit of fish, maybe you clean the fish up, cooked it, and you've had some fish. Maybe you can come up with some stories and think about what you might be feeling and smelling and hearing and seeing while you're in this scene. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that. We're going to now get your paper and your pens. We're going to do a little bit of exercises with, oh, I forgot. One more thing. Hold on. These are his paintings. So some of these, I believe, were sketches in preparation for his paintings. So pretty cool, huh? Very vibrant. Look at the buildings in the very background and how they're reflected on the water. You can just hear and feel and smell maybe what it would be like to be there after, especially after we thought about it. And I have one more for you. That is definitely it could be a sunrise. I think it's a sunset scene. Sometimes sunsets are more vibrant. Working hard on the boats, with the beautiful city in the background. Okay, now that is it. All right. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I have down here. I did print out some pictures of what we just looked at so you can keep seeing them because we're going to try our hand at like making a little scene like this. But first, we're going to do a little practice work with our pens. So, are you ready? Let me make sure I'm all lined up here. Okay, so we're just going to practice a little bit with pen and ink and making things light and things dark. So, you can draw a square. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not using a ruler. Best you can, draw a square. This is just for practice. Okay. Now you're going to draw an X from this corner to the opposite corner, and this corner to the opposite corner. Oh, I didn't do it right. I'm going to curve my X. It's okay. So it's kind of like you're looking down on a pyramid, and we can just imagine that that's the case. I'm going to put my sun here. This is the direction of the light because what we're going to do is this one's going to be our lightest side. So if the sun is here and shining on it, and it is a pyramid that has sides that come up, the sun will be strong on one of the sides, another side not so strong. The back side will be very dark because we don't have the sun there. It's not facing the sun. And then one side will be somewhere in between as well. So I'm just using this so that we can have a little exercise. So why don't we do our darkest dark side first? So with pen and ink, the way you get things darker is you have more ink. The more ink and the closer things are and the less white on your paper, the darker it's going to be. So on this side, we're going to draw some lines and we're going to get them as close as we can without them touching. This is going to be the super, super dark side. All right, so I'm going to do it. And when you feel like you understand, you can go ahead on this side. So you're just going to draw some lines. They're not going to be perfect lines. We're not using a ruler. Get them as close as you can without touching. I touched that one. It's okay. And you're going to end up with this one side being very dark. And that's what we want. Try to go all the way across. If you can't, it's okay. If you have to like start and stop a line because it's a little too long, that's fine. You saw how imperfect his lines were in his drawings. The most important thing is that you get the amount of ink where you want it. And it doesn't have to be in a perfect way. My lines are very wiggly. I'll zoom it a little bit and you can see. Whew. Yeah, my hand's getting a little unsteady on these long, long lines, and that's okay. So I'm going to bring the camera down just a little bit. So you can see how imperfect my lines are. There. Maybe I'll keep it there for this time. All right. We'll let you have a little bit of time. Now, for Cat Academy online classes would be a little bit different because we're doing them on Zoom and I'll be able to talk to everybody who's with me. So I'll know when you're done and we can move on. But I'll just give you a little bit of time. Okay, so now that you've done that, I think what we do is the next lighter one, which will be on this side. You're not in full sun and you're not in full shadow. So we'll do this one. So this side, you can add a little more space in between the lines and they will look lighter, a little bit lighter. Okay, so you can watch me, and when you're comfortable, we're actually gonna have to spin this so I can physically do it. All right, So we're going to do the lines like this, but I'm going to add a little more space. They do not have to be perfect straight lines. If they are, great. If they're not, great. So now that I'm letting a little more of the paper come through, this section is not going to look as dark. It's still pretty dark compared to the light of the paper. A little extra space there. Okay. When you're looking at it real close, you might not be getting the effect. So let me show you on screen here. See the difference between my two sides? One is darker than the other. The other one's, I think, is getting a bit of an effect because of the lines. But you can see it's a little gray as opposed to darker. So art is meant to be viewed at a bit of a distance. So people aren't going to be up. So at the distance, the effect you're making is you made a slightly lighter section just by leaving a little more space between the lines. All right, let's do the next one. Oops. There we go. Okay. We're going to save the lightest one for last. We're going to do the next one. I bet you can't guess what we're going to do with this panel. A little more space between the lines. In fact, you could probably put a decent amount of space between the lines. Let me just, there you go. More than you did before. It looks lighter, doesn't it? Touch my things there. Okay. Last one. This one will be, I'll do it upside down, but much further apart. This will be our lightest side. So I'm going to give a lot of space between my lines. Oops. I went a little crooked. There. Doesn't take you as long on these, huh? Okay, so now you have a pyramid and a nice little practice for what we're going to do in a little bit. Let's do one more little practice. So we're going to draw a skinny rectangle. Again, does not have to be perfect. And instead of filling in a section that's the same, we want to go from dark to light in a gradient, which means it's blurred into each other. It doesn't have sections. It goes from dark to light, and it's like a smooth transition from one to the other. So you're going to start with lines really, really close, and then you're going to start getting them a little further apart. And then by the end, it's going to be like this. So it's similar to this, but you're putting them all together in one long bar. Okay. So I'll start. And when you feel like you understand and you're ready, you can go ahead. Ooh, can't see. Depending on how long you drew your bar, you might have to stay the same for a bit. I'm going to try to get somewhere between these two by the middle and just see how we do. So you do a section and then start spacing them out just a little bit more than you were. So when you're done with these, I would love to see what you've done. You can post the picture. I think you can post a picture as a comment if you wouldn't mind. I would love to see. Probably, actually, I'm going to extend this. I should have gone a little lighter. So I'm adjusting and we're allowed to do that. I'm going to go a little longer because I didn't space my note bar fast enough. There we go. It's a little better. I have a little oopsie there. So if you have one too, it's okay. I'm going to show you what it looks like at a distance. Isn't that interesting? Take that little oopsie out. You can use some white out. But just by putting the lines closer together, how much darker everything is. And then by putting them further apart, it makes it much lighter. Okay, so let's just try doing some of these little landscapes. We will do it really simple, okay? Let me find one that I think let's just try this one. I'm gonna adjust so we can see more table. I think I'm gonna do this. There, I wanted us to be able to see. So what I'm gonna do is do a little bit of land. There's my land. And then we're gonna do a really simple tower. And then we're gonna shade it in using the techniques we just practiced. Okay, so you can draw some land in like a little wiggly line. This is going to be like either rocks or trees. You can decide what it's going to end up being. And then our tower is going to be sitting on it or behind it a little bit. So we simplify this tower. We're just going to do a line down and a line down. That's all we need. Okay, and they don't have to be perfect. Look how sketchy his are. You can try his sketchy lines. You can kind of like do this, a little sketchy hairy line. Okay. And then we'll do another one. And there's your tower. Isn't that amazing? And you don't even need to connect in areas. Look here. He left it out, but your brain still understands that it's a solid structure. So you could leave out some sections if you want. Now I'm going to put a top on this that's a little rounded. So I'm going to come up a little bit. I'm going to do my sketchy lines like that. That'll tell your brain that this is round. And then we have a little line here, another line here. I'm going to do the same thing. But I'm going to make it real. I'm going to like barely touch my pen to the paper and just like let it be real sketchy. Okay. So I've got two rounded lines. That shows you you're looking up at it and it's rounded. Now we're going to put the top. It's kind of like a triangle. So we're going to start here, go up like a swoopy triangle. We're going to do this kind of a thing. We're going to go up, come back down, end up here, and then connect. Again, with your sketchy lines, and then connect them. It's like he has a little hat. The tower with the cute hat. And you can put a little top on there if you want. They've got a cross. I might just put a little ball. You can do what you want. This is your tower. Okay? Now, I really like these windows. I'm going to put some little windows in. How are we going to make something look dark? I'm going to put a lot of ink there next to it. So I might draw out a little tiny square. And then just like we did before, I'm just going to put some quick close lines next to each other. Oh, there. Real close to each other. My dark little window. I'm going to do the other one. A little oddly shaped, imperfect square rectangle. Okay. Now we're going to think about shading and how we're going to do that. So in this picture, the sun is over here. We know that because this side is light, this side is dark. So the sun's making light, and it's a soft transition from light to dark. We don't have a hard line here. Let me see. If we had a hard line, like we do here between the light and the dark, that tells our brains that it's like it's a corner. But when we have a slow change from dark to light, that tells our brains that it's rounded. It's not doesn't come to a point. So if you want yours to be rounded, we can have a slow transition. I think I'm going to do this first because it's darker. It'll be a little easier. So you can still see on one side, it's a little lighter than the other. So you can just start putting some lines in. They don't have to be, we did like perfect lines here, up and down. You can do the sketchy imperfect lines like that and just put them close together or further apart. Hold this up. Okay. They don't have to be perfect lines like this. You can just kind of scribble a little bit with your pen. And if you want it to be dark, just make the scribbles close to each other. Get rid of the white of the paper. All right, so I'm going to just start scribbling a little bit. And so this is the dark side. So you can make it pretty dark if you want, put everything real close. And then when I get to this side, I'm going to leave a little more space between my scribbles. Maybe a little darker here because that's under. And then that's my effect. We have a lighter side because I've let more white show the paper. Now the actual color of this top is probably dark. And that's called local color, is the actual color of the object. And then you have light making its effect. So this object doesn't change colors. It's not a light gray on one side and a dark gray on one side, but it is that way in the picture because of the sun. So this is kind of dark, but the local color of the tower is a little light. So when we do the dark side on the tower, it's not going to be as dark as this. I hope that makes sense. I'm throwing a lot of terms at you that I didn't really intend on telling you. These are things we go over throughout the year, but it's coming up, so might as well. So if you don't understand, it's really okay. So anyway, my tower is lighter than the top. So my shadow side isn't going to be this dark. So I'm just going to start, again, adding lines that aren't terribly close. And you can cross them a little bit. You can go some different directions. And just whatever lines you want to make. And then as you come over to this side, you're going to slowly let them be further apart. And then over here, he does show like some of the bricks. Come over a little bit. It's more like he doesn't want it to look dark, but he does want to let you know that this is made from bricks. So you can see some of that there. I want a window, like I'm imagining there's a staircase inside. So I'm going to put some little windows as you go down because you need to be able to see out the window when you're going up and down the stairs, right? And maybe we go around twice because it's such a tall tower. So I'm going to add some very imperfect little windows. And there you have a tower. Now, if you want to add some trees, let's do some branches. Very imperfect, little shaky. We'll do some branches. And then we can just add some shade, some lines that aren't as dark as the branches, but kind of like just put in where the leaves are. And now I have a little tree. Okay. And you can just add some lines here for grass and bushes. Cross them, make them far apart or close together when you want it to be darker. I'm just adding lines wherever you want them to be. Now that you've put a tree there and it just is going to look like it's bushes or grass. It's going to make sense. So I hope you're enjoying making a little tower. I'll let you go for a little bit longer and then we will be done. I might add a little tree, a little one here. So I'll get him closer so you can see what I did. Yeah, just a bunch of lines. And if you want to make adjustments, you can't make things lighter because it's pen, but you can always go darker. So just add a little bit more. Say you want the tree to make a shadow. You can go back and forth and just keep adding more lines and make it darker. I want this to be darker. And if there's some buildings back here, kind of outline them. I'm just doing odd rectangle and square shapes. And you can shade them just really lightly like we've done. And you see the effect. Now they're there, but they're kind of in the distance. All right. Well, I hope you've had fun with this. You could rewind, well, when the recording is up there, it'll be up in a few minutes after we're done with the live stream. You could go back through the recording and where I'm showing you other pictures, I have some others, and just pause it and then just look at some other things that he drew and make your own scenes based on that. The gate looks amazing. I would enjoy doing that one. So you can look his work up. Let me pull up his name again, if I can find it. There it is. There it is, Andrew Fisher Bunner. And you're probably getting a lot of paintings, but if you go on the Met Museum website, you will see they have the pen and ink drawings for him. Okay. So let me recap. Recap. Last night, if you're interested, parents, I did a little talk about how to explore art with your kids. So either at home, I showed you a website where you can go look at things yourself first, and then if you like what you see, then bring them in. They have stories on there. I've done a lot of things, so you'll want to watch that, and it will help you if you're going to a gallery, museum, or like inspired to do that. You can make it a more full experience as well. And don't forget about Cat Academy. There we go. Fine art classes for homeschoolers for the school year. I will take care of your art for the year, ages 9 to 18, online and in person. So it will be like this, only better because I'll actually be able to talk to your child. They'll be able to show me their work, and we'll have one on one time with them. We started September, we go till May, but if you want to go till June, I will do that for you. And it will satisfy even the harder states that do homeschooling because I live in one. We're doing pen and ink, charcoal, Conte, sketching from life, and principles. We're doing, perspective. I showed you perspective one evening. We'll make some scenes with this, and they'll do projects. They will do practices like this, just fun experimental things, but we will have projects with deadlines, and they will learn how to follow instructions. They will learn about good presentation. So it's a rich learning experience for your child. You're going to get longer classes. The in person is an hour and a half. The online is an hour and 15 minutes. We will break it up with some fun games, always learning. I have 20 years of experience. I've been a working artist and I've been teaching for over 20 years. So I've been doing this for a while. I've taught kids and teens and adults drawing, oil painting, and a lot of other things in between. We will have an art history component, just like we did today, that, if applicable, it will go along with what we're doing. For instance, when we do the pen and ink part, I will be discussing and showing them illustrations, like the old Nancy Drew books and all the old books that have all those pen and ink illustrations in them. We'll be doing Escher probably. So we will tie it into what we're doing, and it will be a rich, full experience. And also during the classes, your kids will have one-on-one time with me. I will teach, we'll have art history, or I will teach the concept for the day. We will do some practice sketching, and then they will have time to work in class, and I will go around to each student and help them individually with their artwork, as well as if they need help during the week, they can get in touch with me and I can help them. So, and if you want more information, let me make myself smaller here. On Wednesday night, I did a full live stream showing you every little thing that we're going to be learning that I have planned. So that was Wednesday night. It's a recording on my Kids Art Tour page as well. You should be able to find it. And if not, you go to my website on the class page. There is a link for that there. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed our little lesson today. I would love to see what your kids did, and you. I hope, parents, I didn't mention you. You should have been doing this too. I hope you did. So if you can, post a picture on this video and show me what you did. Please share with your friends and your homeschool groups. I will really, really appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow, same time, for like a Cat Academy wrap up. So have a good rest of your day and evening, and I will see you later. Goodbye.